I also unbolted these two wires. Let's pull this one out. Recently learned that a header and wires don't go together that well. What a day. It's extremely hot today. It's so hot outside. But right now I'm enjoying it under the car because here in the shade it's really relaxing. And I need a break because it has like 35 degrees Celsius here. I made a huge short. Battery does not look good. Here's my new wire for the starter motor. It's pretty flexible, which is good. It's a thick wire. I ordered a new crimping tool, which can handle these thick wires. So let's rewire it. But first, I want to get out the old wire to see how long it is, where it is burned up, and maybe I can use 1 or 2 meters of that cable from the main switch to my starter motor. Let's pull out the old wires and let's see which crimped ends are on there and recrimp this wire with these ends. The first thing is getting this terminal back off again. So now at least I know why I wanted to install quick release terminal connectors. So this wire runs down here. I'm just gonna push it out of this little holder thingy here. So the tricky part is definitely getting my main switch back out, because I cannot reach the terminals from up here. I'm going to disconnect my amp here. Here we go. I also rechecked the wiring of my main switch if I made a mistake here, but it should be okay that way. The spring for my antenna service door is in the way. Alright. So here's the service door. Can I get it out now? Yeah, now it moves. So, can we get that out? Here we go. These thick battery cables here have to come out first, because I think that is the reason why it doesn't move. Yeah, that one is out. The other one is secured with the zip tie. I have to get the zip tie out of the way again, I think. You can already see how stiff this wire here is. This is the original one. Okay, let's get these two off first. So this one is out. And now let's get the other one out. Finally. This one is out. So I pulled my main switch out. And now let's pull out the cable from the battery to the switch and from the switch to the starter motor. This is a really thick, strong wire. I can't wait to get this out. This here is the wire to the starter. And this little thingy here, this one is the one that's coming from the battery straight up here. This is the one coming from the battery. And somewhere here, this thick wire up here is the one to the starter. Under the car, I loosened the starter motor again. I unbolted this wire from my starter motor, so let's pull this one out. Like that. I also unbolted these two wires from my starter because it was the purple one that was grounding out. So I want to take a look inside here if I can see something that could cause that. But for now, let's make a new wire from the positive battery terminal to my main switch and from the main switch to my starter motor. These are the wires I pulled out of the car. I'm gonna reopen this and show you how bad it is once again. I recently learned that a header and wires don't go together that well. This wire is burned up really bad. This section is unusable. I'm gonna reuse this end right here. This one is still good. Right here, I'm gonna cut this wire like butter. And here. I'm going to use this wire from the main switch to the starter motor. I'm gonna put that aside for now. This long wire, I haven't shortened it yet because I'm gonna put a terminal on this end, bolt it onto here, and cut it when I pulled the wire through back to my positive battery terminal and see how long the cable needs to be. So let's put a terminal on this wire end right here. 35, yeah. This is 35 square millimeters. And I hope it fits. Yeah. Nice. Still a little. Don't want to cut it too far back. This fits perfectly. And I think this is still at 50. So 16, 25, 35. So now we're at 35 square millimeters. This is a nice and solid crimp. I could have thought of a shrinking tube before I put this on, but still I can get it on from the other side. Yeah. Alright, let's get this on. It's a tight fit, but it fits. This end is done. Bolted this back on this 90-degree angle because I think I can fit it a bit easier behind the driver's side wheel well. So let's make the second wire from the main switch to my starter motor. And I think I have to cut this. But first I want to clean the wire a bit because there is still a lot of underbody coating on it. Is this 25 gauge? I don't know, because I really don't want to use this cable. Look how stiff that is. So this 90-degree angle is going to be tough, but let's see if we can arrange something here. Let's cut this clean and see if this last bit fits. This is just gonna be a test. Yeah. This is a 16mm wire, but this end won't fit. I have to get creative in here. I'm thinking of cutting the insulation to right about here and fold this wire to double its gauge. Alright, this one works. And it's still... Maybe I can drill it out. I was thinking of mounting this main switch thing down there. I pulled out this thing for the shock absorbers for the front fender, but since my wheel wells don't have the brackets on them, I can't use the shock absorber, so this thing was unused in there. So I'm thinking of using this one bolt hole here, mounting my main switch thing here, my magnet relay, and routing this one wire, the top one, back to my battery, maybe under this cover here, to my positive terminal, and the lower one to the starter, but straight from the front side, so I don't have to run it from back here under the long tube headers to the starter, where the terminal is in the front, so I can run it from here straight to under here. Again. So I'm trying to figure that out, if that works and makes sense, because I could use way shorter wires with this thing down here. I bolted these on just loosely, just to see how I could route the wires. So this one right here comes from my starter. This works perfectly. This is going to my battery. This is this wire here, which I'm thinking of routing it under this cover here, or maybe just the way it runs from here. Maybe I'm going to route it on the frame, on the subframe, back up to here. I have the length, and it is, I think, the better solution. Right above here sits this magnetic relay. The starter wire comes out here, which is perfect. And I'm thinking of running the battery cable back to this clamp over to this clamp here and back up to the battery. And that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm bolting the starter back on, bolt the cables back on, because I really like the way these wires run now. The only thing I have to do, if I route these wires that way, I have to get this thing down to that connection. Even though it's the red one is my ground, and that is the one to the magnetic relay. So it's this little, I hope you can see it, this little ear here. There I have to route the wire from a switch. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And I really like the way it runs. What a day. It's extremely hot today. So the sun keeps burning me out from under my car. So the first thing I want to do is route this wire somewhere down here. Where's the frame? There's the frame. Because this time I don't want my header to burn the cable. There is the tank breathing tube. It runs across the subframe here too, but on the front side. So maybe I can route it down there onto this tube so I can get away from my header here. Let's try that. This is the tube for my tank breather something. And this is where I want to pull the cable out. Here runs the brake line too. Let's pull this cable through here. Let's see if I can get everything done. Or if I have to get up one more time. I think I have it. Is that it? I think there has to be more. There is more. Oh boy, it's so hot today. But at least it's not raining, I guess. I know that there is enough wire left, but it gets stuck somewhere. Is that all? Now we have every inch of the wire down here. And this is quite a lot. And now we have to route it up here. This is where I'm gonna pull it up again. I just wanna get enough cable up there so it can grab onto something. Yeah, like that. And now I'm gonna pull it up. So here is the battery cable coming up. Right about that way. And now I just have to figure out where to route it. And maybe right underneath this one shock absorber. This is the one I don't have on the driver's side. Because these wheel wells have this bracket on them. But this was just in the first 1 or 2 years. The later ones didn't have that. But I'm not sure if this is the best option here. No, I don't think so. Because there is not much room in here. I don't want to get the wire stuck in here. So I think I want to run this wire across the hose to my reservoir tank and the one to the heater core. The wire is routed pretty good, I think. In here I did a short bendy bend. The wire runs here to the front here and up here again. So I have about 30 centimeters of excess wire if I need more wire for I don't know what. So now this thing here is bolted down. I just want to cover those ends with electrical tape. But other than that, this is bolted down. Both cables run back here. One down to the starter. One comes up here. can see it here. This is from the subframe running up here, here. Here I made a loop to have a bit more access wire. And this thing is going to be cut here, so that's all the wire that's left. And I want to cut it here, put this thing on and clamp it on back on this post. Here comes my wire down, runs across the subframe here and up on the other side to the battery terminal. This is the wire that was toasted on my header. I still think that it was okay. Can still see good wires in here. But yeah, this was not good. I just soldered this end again, bolted it down, and now it's back on there. So this side over to my magnetic relay is done. It's so hot outside, but right now I'm enjoying it under the car, because here in the shade it's really relaxing. And this view is extraordinary. I can look at my starter, my headers, my leaking transmission, but there are still a lot of things to be done. Right now I just want to get this starter wire bolted on, and the next thing that I gotta do is measuring the purple and brown wire to the starter, because they were grounding out the last time I measured them. So I pulled them up to do that again and hopefully find an exposed wire. But before I can bolt my wire to the starter, I gotta bend this end a little. I must admit, even though I said I wanted to get rid of this cable, I still had to use it because I don't have a terminal for a 35 square millimeter wire with a bolt hole this big. So I had to, I'm sorry. But now I have to get rid of this nose, because the wire was bolted like this on the bolt on the starter, and now it's bolted like that on the starter, so this nose is in the way. So let's try to cut this off and not kill myself. Now it should come off. Just gotta grind it down a bit, then I'm happy. Sweet. So that's it. I cut off the nose here. Now I can bolt it back onto the starter. Well, I cannot bolt it down because I think the purple wire goes onto here too. So just put the nut back on so that the wire stays in place here. All right. Now I want to look if I can see something in this wire loom that comes down to the starter and goes up to the fuel injection harness. These are the wires from my starter. This one is on the positive terminal, it's brown, and this is the purple wire going up to my fuel injection harness. But this doesn't look that good. I guess this has seen better days. This is kinked and open here. The last time I measured the purple wire with the ground, okay, here is nothing, which is good. Nothing here as well. Okay, those wires are good, because I thought that maybe those wires are the bad ones. And here the brown wire splits up. Oh, these are those both brown wires? But here is a purple wire. I guess that's the one to the fuel injection harness. I'm gonna get my electrical spray and clean this connection and put electrical tape on it. But the connection is good here. This is also good, because this is the one wiring coming from the starter to my J-block. You can see a bit of the wire running down here, coming through this room. And this wire is the one that last time was shortening out. Oh no, I think it was the one to my AGI distributor. I'm gonna try something else real quick. I think with those alligator clamps you cannot get a good enough connection, and with those I can get through the top layer on the metal. I'm gonna get my spray real quick. So let's see once more if this changed something. This is good. Didn't think of that. I'm gonna wrap it in electrical tape, put it back into this wiring loom. I think I'll have to get the air cleaner off to get to the other wires and measure them once again. So this goes back in here. I tested all those wires on my starter, so I'm getting them back onto my starter, bolt everything down. Let's pull those wires down. The wires are here now. Let's stuff them behind the heat shield, like so. Let's get this heat shield off real quick. That makes things a little easier. So the two thick wires are back on, not a little small one. So that's back on too. Now let's tighten the bolts, get the heat shield back on, tighten the starter. The starter is back in, so that part is done, and I need a break because it has like 35 degrees Celsius here, and I need to cool down a bit. I guess the heat burned my head. I wasn't clearly thinking, and yeah, I made a huge short, because this burned through. This wire is still hot. The battery does not look good. I really messed up. Somewhere down here smoke came out. I guess it was the starter, if I still have one. And this was where it shortened out. I don't know if you can see it, but the starter wire touched my engine block right here. The starter wire touched my engine block. I guess I should have taken a break